Okay, so Shalom Ubracha. We're here at this special yeshiva, this Breslov American English speaking, not American, Breslov English speaking yeshiva, first one in the world in Har Nof in Yerushalayim. It should be Matzliach, B'ezrat Hashem, to bring more neshamot, B'ezrat Hashem. So we're before Rosh Hashanah, and because this amazing book just came out recently, The Century of Growth, and the stories there are just unbelievable. And what's good about this book is that it takes, all the Breslovers and organizes it in time periods, like before World War One, and then before World War One in Israel, before World War One in Europe, World War One in Europe, World War One in Israel, and even though the same person will come up again in a few times, but at least you get an idea of the image of the time periods that Breslov went through, and you have a clear picture. What sticks out a lot is Rav Levi Yitzhak Bender's depiction of what it was like in Erev Rosh Hashanah and Uman during World War One, after World War One, and before World War One, and also the depiction of what happened after World War One in Poland with Yeshivat Chachmei Lublin, the kibbutz in there, and just how they're expressing the Yirat Shamayim and the preparation of the Breslovers. It gives you such a feeling that, wow, this is something unbelievable that we're going to, and not to lose track, because today in Uman, you can easily lose track of so many people, and some people are just sidetracked to other things. So this imagery of what is like 100 years ago in Uman or in Poland, in Lublin, so it gives you a reminder of what you should be doing in Uman and what you should be concerned. The biggest concern, by the way, for Uman Rosh Hashanah is to try to go to bed early as possible on Erev Rosh Hashanah, and to wake up as early as possible for Chatzot or for Zechor Brit, and to get a head start. Because the light of Rabbeinu's Rosh Hashanah already starts from Chatzot Laila, from the Zechor Brit, from the davening. One amazing thing Rav Levi Yitzhak Bender said, he said that on Erev Rosh Hashanah, the Breslovers were pouring out their pockets, giving non-stop tzedakah, pidyon, tzedakah. He said people you never see such care and love for every other Jew, that he said he saw people didn't have money, but they had such care for each other, the Breslovers, that they met each other in Uman for Rosh Hashanah. They're just pouring out their pockets, giving to other people. He said that was something out of this world. Like, people didn't care about themselves at all, just the other guy should get. It was an unbelievable experience that he saw. B'ezrat Hashem. So I really suggest to read the book. It's something, if you get through it, to get the imagery of what to expect. B'ezrat Hashem. Many people come for Rosh Hashanah. Each one has a different thing that gets them. By me personally, the highlight is the davening, the Musaf. I'm Sfardi. I daven Nusach Sfaradi. But when I first heard the first time the Nusach of the Breslov Nigunim on Rosh Hashanah, it just took me away. I said, I'm losing out on this because of my minhag. I'm davening with the Sfardim, and I don't feel the connection so much. It's my Nusach, but I'm not connected. And then I hear, if back then it was Rav Moshe Bienenstock or of Carmel, and I hear them crying, and I hear the davening, and I feel my neshama is about to pop out. So I said, this is unbelievable. I can't miss this. So even though I daven for Sfardi Nusach, I daven by the main Ashkenazi minyan because of the Nusach, the Nigunim, and the time flies. Other people, oh my God, 7 hours, 8 hours, whatever. I'm flying with it. It's unbelievable. I now hope Hashem continues that we can go on to do this B'ezrat Hashem more. Okay. So that's just the thing. The book is an amazing hachana for Rosh Hashanah, in my opinion. That's something kedai to do. And the idea of Rosh Hashanah. Okay, idea of Rosh Hashanah by Rabbeinu. Just a highlight point introduction before we get to what we want to say. The Megillat Esther shows and tells us how Mordechai had an unbelievable salvation, in that Achashverosh told Haman to put Mordechai on his horse, to lead him through Shushan, and say, Kacha ya'aseh la'ish asher hamelech hafetz bikaro, right? This is what the king will do to the one who finds favor in the king's eyes, okay? Such a salvation, okay? You would think Mordechai, your enemy, who's on his way to tell Achashverosh to hang you, permission to hang you, he now is leading you, and then on top of that, Haman's daughter throws the pot of excrement on her father's head, and she thought it was Mordechai. She sees him made a mistake. She jumps off. She commits suicide. So the pasuk says, "Vayashov Mordechai." Right after this happened, it says, "Vayashov," and Mordechai went back. Right, and it says about Haman went Avel v'chafui rosh, and Haman was mourning because he lost his daughter. But it says about Mordechai, Vayashov Mordechai. So Rashi says, wasn't Vayashov Mordechai? That after this unbelievable, amazing salvation, Rashi says, Mordechai went back to what? Sako uta'anito. He went back, he took off, he was wearing royal garments. Yeah, Haman dressed Mordechai with, king's clothing, very royal garments. So Mordechai took off everything, put back the Tisha B'Av mode of mourning and crying and sackcloth and ashes. So Rav Nosson asked this question. You have this salvation, so why don't you go with this like breast of hashkafa that we're given? If you're on a roll of something good, so go on, because the good. If you keep on focusing on the good and the positive and hoda'ah, the bad will follow automatically. But in the Megillah, that's not what happened. What happened? Vayashav Mordechai. Haman, Mordechai, you don't see the breakthrough? Your enemy now is leading you, so stop with the mourning. No, Rav Nosson says that as long as the salvation that you need is not there, you gotta keep on davening, okay? So what they say is that this simcha that Mordechai had is what infused him to be able to cry even more afterwards. Question mark. How? Second example, to even build up the question even better, in Hallel. How does Hallel work? Hallel is, right, Hallelu et Hashem, Odech Hashem ki nitani vatiri lishua. All of Hallel is praising Hashem, praising Hashem, praising Hashem. The Cherner Rav brings this up. The Cherner Rav says this. Afterwards, at the end of Hallel, what do? Ana Hashem Hoshiana. What in the world? What's the connection? Hallel, you're thanking Hashem, praising, and then all of a sudden, Ana Hashem, we scream. Right? We scream Ana Hashem Hoshiana. What in the world? So they say that, the praising leads to the brokenheartedness. But how? Okay? Third example, I'm gonna develop this question stronger. In the story of the Baal Tefillah, the master of prayer, story number 12, Rabbi Nachman's story, Sipur Masiyot. And towards the end of the story, you have that they're finding each other. The master of prayer finds the Gibor, the warrior, and then they find the treasurer, and then they find the Ohev, the friend, the true friend of the king, and the bard, the Melitz, and then the princess and the son of the princess, and then the queen and the king, right? And it says that whenever they found another new person, hayu smachot ubechiot. They were rejoicing. Oh, how are you? We missed you. And they're crying. What about the king? What about the... Okay? So it's two opposites. What in the world? What do you want from us? Okay? You, on one hand, Mordechai, he's happy. What is salvation? What a thing, okay? On one hand, we're saying Hallel, Odecha Kinaten. I'm in positive mode. On one hand, I'm happy about saying something. And then at the same time, I have to be able to mourn and cry over what's missing. It's difficult. How do you do that? Most people today, they can't have this balance. It's a crazy balance. If I'm happy, I go all the way, man. Some people, when they're on a high Friday night and the davening, they can't go to sleep afterwards. Sometimes you see this in Uman, Friday night, like this Friday night after Rosh Hashanah, they call it in breslov noch Rosh Hashanah. When you have a Shabbos after Rosh Hashanah, people are flying. After 2 days of intense davening, people want to break. So Friday night, davening is like ecstatic, and people just want to let go and be loose. So what's common on the Friday nights after Rosh Hashanah is people decide to stay up all night. Because when they're such a high, they're flying, wow, I made it to Rosh Hashanah, and then, oh my God, and this and that. So what happens, they start schmoozing, it's 12, it's okay. 1, 2, 3, they go to bed like 5, 6 in the morning. No nets, no shacharis bazman, everything, okay? Okay, this is an extreme, I give an example, but this is how it is. The people, when they're on a high on Simcha, it's hard for them to stop. It's hard, but you have to stop. You need a balance. You have to stop, man. If you have too much Simcha, you're going to have what's called Ribui Or, okay? Okay, now the opposite. But to be crying in mourning, they say in Breslov, you got to daven. The guy said, I don't have money for my ticket. What am I going to do? I don't know. So what do they tell people? You got to daven. Okay, I'm davening. No more. Go to daven. Go to the kotel, bawl your eyes out. Cry, plutz. I don't know what to do. And they so now the lacking part, the crying part, which is an expression of Retzonot, Kisufim, your yearning desire, expression of Emunah, is the exact opposite. Simcha, happiness, is when you've achieved something, you have something concrete in your hand. Mordechai had something unbelievable. I'm on the horse of the king. I have this guy, this Haman leading me. I have something in my hand to be happy about. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you. Also, a person in life, this amazing thing. I had no money, all of a sudden, boom, thank you. I was sick, and all of a sudden I feel great. Thank you. Happiness is you have something, an accomplishment in your hand. Okay? Lev nishbar, feeling broken and sad, not sad, but broken and yearning and feeling I'm still far from Hashem and this. That's not so. You have nothing in your hands. It's like it's because nothing's in your hands that you're crying, right? The Ratzon, Rabbeinu says in lesson 66, the desire of a person comes out when he's removed, when he's obstacles to get to it. I want to get to something. I don't have the accomplishment. I don't have the achievement. It's far from me, so I'm able to express my brokenheartedness in Ratzonot v'Kisufim. So these are two opposites. It's two opposites. Being b'simcha, I have something in my hand, okay? And now yearning and crying for something I don't have, that's 180 degrees opposite. Most people today, they can't manage joining them. You need to join them, again, because if it's only simcha, you'll crash. You'll have too much ribui or. And if now it's only crying and crying, you'll fall to depression. You need the balance of simcha and yearning. But how do you do that? The two opposites. And here we're told, Rav Nosson says, and the breslov-therapy say, that if you're able to have true simcha, Rabbeinu says this in Sichot Haran. It's crazy. He says A leads to B and B leads to A. If now you can have true simcha, then it's easier to express your broken heart. But how? It's two opposites. It's two opposites. If I'm happy, I'm happy. Come on. And then you tell me that the happiness can lead to a broken heartedness, but how? I want that balance. Most people today, the biggest problem today is people don't have this balance. People, I said, like, or they're too happy or they're too sad. They get their broken heartedness and leads to sadness. The balance, that's by Mordechai. He's a tzaddik, okay? And Hallel is David HaMelech expressing Hallel. I can understand Odecha ki anitani Hallelu et Hashem kol goyim, and then Ana Hashem Oshiana. That's David HaMelech talking. That's not me, okay? In the story of the master of prayer, the Baal Tefillah, they were smachot ubechiot. They were happy. I met you, hi, but I'm also crying. But I'm a human being. I don't have that koach. I don't have that. So Rav Nosson says this idea of the sun and the moon. The sun is the idea of simcha, because again, the sun is solid. It never changes. The sun is rising and it's full and it's always bright. That's the idea of simcha, which is bright and shining and everything. The moon, sometimes like this, sometimes like that. It's like, jello waxing. That's my Emunah. Sometimes I have something is far from me. Oh, Hashem, I want to be a good Jew, and now I don't really this. And like, I got it, thank you. It's always changing the Ratzonot v'Kisufim. Both unite on Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is the day where we start the solar cycle and the lunar cycle of Rosh Chodesh. Okay? And both meeting together on one day, and we're expected to absorb the combination of the two. And I can't on my own. I can't do this on my own. This is why we travel to tzaddikim for Rosh Hashanah. What did Rabbeinu say? Mi shaya etzli Rosh Hashanah, ra'ui lo lismoach kol hashana. So Rabbeinu is saying it's fitting for you to be happy the whole year. Why to be happy the whole year? Because by traveling to a tzaddik on Rosh Hashanah, and the tzaddik is the one who knows how to make the combo of simcha and a brokenheartedness. Again, this is a real major point. Take a look at yourself on Simchas Torah or on Simchat Beit HaShoeva. Okay, you're up till like 2 a.m. dancing, and then the next morning, how's your davening? You're not into it at all. You're not into the davening. Why? Because you were up dancing, and then to take that same person to tell him to get up for nets and daven with the hakafos and Hoshana, he's not into it because he had such an amazing time last night in the dancing and the music. I told us Aaron, I don't know wherever he went. He went to the dancing and the music, and he may have drunk a few XLs with vodka, I don't know. And then he woke up like, and he goes to the mikveh, and then he takes the lulav etrog, and what do you expect from him? Okay, it's not easy. This is a challenge. The ones who master this, you wonder, how do they do that? How could he have been so happy, and then he has a broken heart as if nothing happened? Rav Mordechai Agelnik, he said about Rav Yitzchak Breiter, that was his uniqueness. Rav Yitzchak Breiter was someone, when he just started to talk about Rabbeinu, people would melt. There would be a bittul, because the man had such a clarity in explaining Rabbeinu, people were flipping out. And then he himself, Yitzhak Breiter, even though he would give an amazing drasha, he looked at himself like he was like dirt. He was nothing. He wouldn't feel pumped up. Wow, I spoke about Rabbeinu and like fire's coming out of my mouth and light and orot and everything. And then once you get caught into that, that same guy can't daven afterwards normally for brokenheartedness and shiflut and humility. He can't. It's two opposites. And Rabbi Yitzhak Breiter, he said, was unique in that he was able, even though he gave an amazing drasha, he didn't take it, like he didn't pump himself up. When you're pumping up when you're going camping, you're pumping what's it called? The mattress that pumps up with air. He's in English. Come on. The air pumped mattress. There's the word in English. Come on. I can't remember the word. There's a nice professional word. I forgot the word. Okay. So a person is into something which has a lot of light. He gets pumped up. And then the same person, it's like you're blowing the balloon and then you let it go. He flies up. That's the problem. This is the biggest problem in life of having a balance between Simcha and Ratzonot and Kisufim, which is the idea of Lev Nishbar. So this is why we go to tzaddikim on Rosh Hashanah, to take these two opposites together and to internalize it. But so Rabbeinu says, what's your job then? What is your job? We know that Lev Nishbar can lead to Simcha, and Simcha can lead to Lev Nishbar. What should I work on more? Rabbeinu warns us. If you try to take the attitude of being broken, your chances are that you'll never come to Simcha. Rav Moshe Kramer, he says about himself that when he came to Breslov in the 1950s, he says there was a lot of talk of people, letting out krechts. Oi, oi, and you hear people in Hidbo do oi, and many people, the focus was on negativity, on how far I am, how broken I am. And he says that he thought that was the right derech, but he was taught otherwise. And he said in life, you see it's exact opposite. That what? You got to work on the angle of the simcha. And when you work on the angle of the simcha, the smacks, the patches in life will come on their own. And on their own, they'll make you to be submitted. But your job has to be to start from the simcha point. So going back, Rabbeinu said, whoever's by me for Rosh Hashanah, Ra'ui lo lismoach. Rabbeinu is like giving you advice. He's saying it's proper that you work now from the simcha angle. Don't work from the broken-hearted angle. Work from the simcha angle to get it internalized. Because that's the way you will get to the Ratzonot Kisufi. But it's not happening. Don't worry. You do your work on the simcha. Yeah, but I see I'm out of my davening. I say Tehillim, blah, blah, blah. I don't feel the Tehillim like I wanted to. I don't feel the davening like I wanted to. Everything's like lip service. So Rabbeinu is saying you work on the simcha part. And Hashem will organize it on His own. He'll make it that you'll have those times in life where you have what's called in the Kabbalah a betisha. A betisha is like a smack. You get smacked back. Even though you're doing something good, you're doing something right, and you say, Hashem, what did I do wrong? I'm doing only good things, and you push me back like this? Why? What did I do wrong? I'm trying to be a good Jew. I'm trying to serve you. I work so hard to finally do a good thing, and then you smash me. What is this? Rabbeinu says that's the test. If now you are truly besimcha, so you'll be able to take the smack so well. You say, they're testing me. This is great. You don't crack because of it. Rather, you accept it and you take the humility. Say, okay, Hashem wants me to be low-key, low profile for now. I'll do it, no problem. But you, on your part, you're working on the simcha. So Rabbeinu is giving you the advice, Ra'ui lo lismoach. It's fitting that you now start on the simcha angle. So this, Rav Nosson writes a few places that this is the main thing we accomplish by being by a tzaddik on Rosh Hashanah. The tzaddik is a master of being balanced. Mordechai, okay, he has a big salvation, but he's able to put the brakes on. Wait. We don't. The Haman's decree is still there. Nachon, I'm happy. What a salvation. Maybe let's work. You always hear these people. Even in Breslov, work on hoda'ah, giving thanks, and the problem will disappear on its own. Okay? On one hand, it sounds great, but the problem is still there. Okay? Mordechai, he said, as great as this miracle is, but the way to deal with nullifying the decree is I have to go back to the sak va'efer. I have to go back to the mourning, and that's what's needed. And in life also, there's the simcha part, but Hashem says, I need you now to have a little bit of brokenheartedness. Okay? So now, of all this said, in lesson 24, Rabbeinu talks about this high concept called Orot HaTzachtzachot. Orot HaTzachtzachot in the Kabbalah is the highest level between Hashem and us. Okay, it's the spitz. It's considered the interface between Hashem and us. Okay? And when you connect to Orot HaTzachtzachot, you now have the gateway to Hashem. The trick is how this tzachtzachot works. The word tzachtzachot comes from a pasuk in Yeshaya chapter 58, verse 11. It says there a blessing, v'hisbia b'tzachtzachot nafshecha. And Hashem will satisfy, satiate with tzachtzachot your soul. So the Mefarshim ask, the Radak, Metzudot, the Malbim, what's tzachtzachot? What's this funny word, tzachtzachot? So the pshat of tzachtzachot means something or someone who's dried up, parched, thirsty, not much dry. So the pshat is, vehisbiya, Hashem will satisfy, b'tzachtzachot nafshecha, the soul that's parched and dried up, Hashem will satisfy. With what? With the second meaning of tzachtzachot, which means light. Tzach ve'adom, something which is clear and clear and light and shining light. Tzach. Tzach means also something like, the tzachtzach shenayim, to brush your teeth in Hebrew. You have to make the teeth white, okay? White and shiny. So the Zohar talks about this. The Zohar Kadosh talks about this pasuk tzachtzachot, and it says it can be interpreted lemala and interpreted lemata. In other words, you can explain it as tzachtzachot, which means pure light, and also it means thirst. What's the inyan? Rabbeinu explains that the way for a person to connect to the highest light possible is through ratzonot v'kisufim. Your ratzonot, your desire to get somewhere in life, is the greatest power in the world. Okay? Rabbeinu explains the pasuk we say every day. Poteach et yadecha umasbia lechol chai ratzon. Rabbeinu explains it like this. Watch. Put Hashem, you open your hands. Poteach et yadecha umasbia lechol chai, and you give satiation, satisfaction lechol chai, to all living. How does Rabbeinu explain it? Ratzon, according to that person's ratzon. According to the person's ratzon, that's how much Hashem will send the person. And what? You want a Lamborghini, a nice car? So Hashem will send it. That's what you want? Okay. If you activate the source of bracha, you want like gashmiut, fine. If you really want the real deal, Hashem is also ready to give it to you, but it's up to you. Mazbiah lechol chai, ratzon. So Rabbeinu says in lesson 24, when you tap into ratzon, which is the idea of a person who's thirsty, tzachtzachot, you bypass everything and reach the highest level. The Zohar says like this also, this funny word, tzach, tzachot. Tzach is singular, 1. Tzachot is plural, 2. So that's 1 plus 2 is 3. What's the 1? What's tzach, tzachot? 1 plus 2. So he says this is the level of the nefesh, ruach, neshama. That this light is above the nefesh, ruach, neshama, which means what? The gateway to Hashem. He explains, Rav Nosson, what does that mean, the gateway to Hashem? What do you want from me? I'm a simple Jew. I'm happy enough just to live a life where I feel Hashem in my life. That's what I want. So that's the answer. That's what this light is. This light is clarity. Having clarity. Also when you have doubts, you don't know what to do in this, having Hashem shine His light onto you is the light of clarity. How do I get to it? Through retzonot v'kisufim. But one second, kisufim, yearning and desire, is when something is far from you. So that's what we said. Mordechai wearing the sakva efer, crying at the end of Hallel, Ana Hashem Oshiana, in the story of the Master Prayer, there were smachot and bechiyot. The way to get to true ratzon, is only someone who works on being b'simcha. Someone who doesn't work on being b'simcha can never have good ratzonot. You got that? Someone who's always looking never to be happy, just looking at the negative. When this guy is hit with a major situation, the first people to give up are those guys. Why? Because they didn't work on simcha. Last week's parsha, the klalot. I still have a question. Maybe you know the answer. It says in the middle there's 98 klalot, right? Rashi says really there's 100 klalot, but because your shamayim will be like barzel and the eretz like nechoshet, because it was repeated in bechukotai. So because it's repeated, so we take it out, and there's now 98 curses. Okay. It's 53 psukim, the Zohar says. 53 psukim in Parashat Kitavot that have in them 98 curses. Now, in the middle of the curses, it says, you know why this is happening to you? Tachat asher lo avadat ad Hashem Elokecha b'simcha. All this is happening because you didn't serve Hashem b'simcha. The question I had, I can't find a good answer, is if you want to say Torah, Hashem and the Torah, you want to say that all these punishments because you're not being b'simcha, why don't you say that pasuk at the end of all the curses? After all 98 curses, say there, and all this will come to you because you didn't serve Hashem b'simcha. That's a question I'm going nuts trying to find the mefarshim. Maybe someone talks about it. I didn't find anyone yet. I didn't see the Orach Chaim. I didn't see the Ramban. If anyone sees something, I would be very happy to find an answer. In the middle, everything that happened until the 20th pasuk is because you didn't serve Hashem b'simcha. And now from the next pasuk afterwards, what's that because of? It's a question. It's a good question mark. Okay, but the point is, all the Mefarshim say, Rav Nosson Likutei Halachot says, that the reason why all the punishments come upon a person is because he wasn't looking to serve Hashem b'simcha. Rav Nosson says in one place, Rav Shimshon Barsky quotes this Rav Nosson without a source. He says, Rav Nosson says in Likutei Halachot the following, and we can't find where it is. He says that Rav Nosson says that the simcha in doing a mitzvah is greater than the mitzvah itself. Whoa. What in the world? It's like a real Hasidic word. Doing a mitzvah b'simcha is greater than the mitzvah itself. So you're saying if that's the case, let me just be high and drink and be happy the whole time. No. The simcha that we want to get to is specifically through tefillin, through Yom Kippur, through Shabbat, through tzitzit. It's through the mitzvot that we get to that simcha. It won't come through bringing a pub and smoking a joint, chas shalom, and doing all that stuff. It won't happen like that. It's simcha that happens dafka through the mitzvot, okay? So now, with the simcha, only this type of simcha can bring you to this orot tzachtzachot. Because tzachtzachot means, like we said, tried, feeling yearning, and at the same time it brings to this light. But the only way, Rabbeinu says in lesson 24, to come to this ratzon is by being b'simcha. When you work on being b'simcha, Rawi lo lismoach kol hashana, right? So then Hashem takes care of it that you're pushed back. And when you're pushed back, you don't say, so this is Yiddishkeit, Hashem, you do this to me, then I'm not interested. I had a friend, unfortunately, I grew up with, had a hard life. He lost his mother when he was like right before bar mitzvah, after bar mitzvah. It was really very hard. And his father remarried, and they lived in the same house, and it's not easy, okay? And I remember him telling me, because he grew up religious, and I see him one day without a kippah. I said, what in the world happened, man? He said like this, well, I gave Hashem a chance. I gave God a chance. And I understood what he was trying to say. I understand. I feel his pain. He said, like, when you anyways, you're not happy. And then in Judaism, the push gets the shove. And you're trying to be a firm Jew is not easy. You know that. To be a Jew is work 24/7. You have a kippah on your head. You have the tzitzit. You have al brachot. Everywhere you turn, there's Yiddishkeit. There's Torah. Right? The famous, I'm going to go off for a second. This will just remind me if I go off where I held, okay? I have this problem that when I go off, I forget where I left off. Rav Nosson says, Rabbi Chananya ben Akasha Omer, Ratzak HaKadosh Baruch Hu lezakot et Yisrael, lefichach hirba lehem Torah mitzvot, shenemar Hashem chafetz leman tzidkot yigdol Torah v'yadir. Right? You don't have to say Kaddish now. When it was, we're not 10. So it's like this. Rabbi Chananya ben Akasha said, Hashem wanted to give zchut, merit to Am Yisrael. So what did he do? Lefichach hirba lehem Torah mitzvot. So he gave a lot of Torah mitzvot. So Rav Nosson says, that's a zchut? That's a burden. Hashem wanted to give merit to the Jewish people. How do he do it? He gives them tons of Torah mitzvah. What do you give me an extra burden? That's a zchut. So Rav Nosson says, it is a zchut. Because now, every time a Jew makes like a movement, there's like a mitzvah involved. I have to say bracha now. Every tiny thing, I have to be careful, watch my eyes, I have to get tzaka, an old pants, passing by, I have to stand up. Every time you do something, a mitzvah is involved, so that's a zchut. Because now, it's all you're just doing things and wasting time. Every time you do something, you're credit to it. It's a mitzvah. That's the idea, okay? I lost track. If I say I need a reminder. Huh? Your friend. Yeah, so the idea is that being a Jew is a burden. It is. But the only way I can do it is if I'm happy about it. And Rav Nosson says something clear. And they say the same thing in the name of the Vilna Gaon, right? A Jew, he does a mitzvah. It's forever. It's eternal. That's it. You said a bracha in 1972, March 14th, 11:35 in the morning. You took a cup of coffee, or like they say in New York, a coffee. You had a coffee, and you said a bracha. That bracha is etched forever. No one can take it away. You put on tefillin, In 1987, on Thursday morning at 5:25, you put on the tefillin, you said a bracha on it, it's yours forever. Because a mitzvah is forever, you have what to be happy about. You want me to be happy about my trip to Club Med and the nice fake shrimp that I ate at that nice Punjabi kosher restaurant in downtown Manhattan. You want me to be happy about that? Come on. Come on. If they came by, oh yeah, we had a fun time. And any simcha in this world exclusively is empty, empty. And people, they try to justify, yeah, but we're Shabbos and everything. But the real intent they have is because they want to be happy of Olam Hazeh. They're never happy. Because this world in itself has nothing to be happy about, period. What in the world do you want to be happy about in this world? It's because you're using this world to connect to Hashem. When you go, for example, to the Swiss Alps, and you're standing there and you see the mountains, and you begin to start doing Hidbodedut because of that, you say, Marabu Masech Hashem, Hashem, unbelievable what I'm seeing. The grass and the mountains and the trees and the birds, I'm just flipping out. How could anyone who sees this not believe in Hashem? They have to be stupid not to believe in Hashem, that you're taking this world, connecting to Hashem with that. That's great. That's the idea. When you can use this world to connect to Hashem, Rav Nosson says, you have every reason in the world to be happy. Okay? So here again, Simchat HaMitzvah is the thing. When you have Simchat HaMitzvah, you're able to reach what's called the Keter in the Kabbalah. And the Keter is the vehicle that Hashem uses to push you back in life, to activate your Ritzonot. The Orot Tzachtzachot come out specifically when you're pushed back. And when you're pushed back in life and you begin to yearn, your yearning creates this light, Tzachtzachot, which brings you the clarity that you need in life. Okay? So in the end, brokenheartedness, which is associated to Ratzon, is a byproduct of Simcha. And going back, Rabbeinu says, whoever's by me for Rosh Hashanah, it's fitting and it's proper. It's, in other words, it makes sense that he should be happy all year round. And more than this, you work on the Simcha part. Don't work, yeah, but the brokenheartedness, that'll come by itself. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't work for it. Don't like set aside time. Okay, it's my Musar Shmuz hour, and I have to be broken, and I have to be, Lev Nishbar, and I have to know. Don't do that. You work on being b'simcha. Hashem will organize your day. He knows where to make you smack and where to fall. He knows how to do it. Don't worry. Don't try to tell Hashem, guide him what to do in that area, okay? It'll happen. And Hashem knows how to activate it. And if you are working really on doing the simcha part, when you get pushed back, then you cry. Like by Pesach Sheni, they said, the guys who were tameh, met, carrying the bodies in the desert, they told Moshe Rabbeinu, Lama nigara. Why should we lose out? Because now we were tameh at the time of Pesach, we couldn't do Korban Pesach. So they're saying, why should we lose out? So Hashem said, okay, they're saying good, we'll create for them a new mitzvah. The mitzvah Pesach Sheni, Rav Nosson says, was created from their yearning. Okay? Now, who in the world does that? Someone who is a simchadik Jew. Someone who's happy. He will be concerned. Hashem, I also want to do this. I also want this, Hashem. Why should I lose out? Who talks like that? Only someone who's working on being b'simcha. Someone who doesn't care about simcha. Yeah, simcha, yeah. Those guys jumping on the trucks and everything. Yeah. Well, simcha is not like a by the way thing. Simcha, Rav Nosson says, Rabbeinu says in lesson 24, is where you have to invest your main energy, because you're going to need it in life. You're going to need it when you get the setbacks in life. How you deal with the setbacks is all dependent on being b'simcha. For this reason, it is so important that every Jew make it to be by the tzaddik for Rosh Hashanah, because that will instill in the beginning of the year, which includes everything that happens in the year, that it should be under the jurisdiction of the Rosh Hashanah that I spent by someone who's mastered this balancing, and it brushes off on me that I can work on being b'simcha, and then the brokenheartedness and the difficulty will come out. Okay? On me personally, I just want to open up a little. I had an amazing hitbodedut 2 weeks ago. Okay? After not being able to do hitbodedut for many days, like, lip service, blah, 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 right here and there. All of a sudden, Hashem was kind to me, gave me a good 10 minutes, and I just read a paragraph of Alikutei Tfilot, and the tears just start coming out by themselves. I didn't do anything, and I can't stop them. They're coming out and coming out. I did nothing to trigger it. It happened by itself, and the relief was unbelievable, and the opening and life was unbelievable. That happens by itself. So what do I have to do? I have to work on being b'simcha. If I work on being b'simcha, so then I have it activated. So now, as you know, Rabbeinu, he gives 5 ways how to be b'simcha. It's okay, because you think, okay, tell me to be b'simcha, but how? So Rabbeinu says you got to tell a lot of jokes. You got to tell a lot of jokes. So I have a joke for you. Ready? I have a few jokes for you. Joke number 1, a guy gets a phone call from his wife, and he says, yes, dear. And she says, tell me a joke. And he says, honey, I'm the name of Kolel. She says, tell me another joke. Okay, a better joke. A guy, he goes to a plastic surgeon. He says, listen, I have a problem. I'm missing a toe, the big toe on my left foot. I'm missing the toe. What can we do? I want like a real flesh to replace it. You know, not a fake toe. I want a real toe. What can we do? So the plastic surgeon looks at his nose, says, I see you have a big nose. I'll trim a little your nose. Okay, we'll take the flesh from your nose. We'll reconnect it to the nerves and the veins where your foot is. And then we'll vacuum it so it sticks out. It will be without a toenail, but it'll be real flesh. He said, okay, let's do it. So they do the surgery. They put on the toe. So he said, come back next week. I want to see how you breathe. So he comes back next week, and the surgeon said, now how's your breathing? He said, what can I tell you? All I smell is my socks. And when I sneeze, my shoe flies off. Rabbeinu says, telling stupid jokes, and it makes you laugh, and you feel funny. This, even though it's stupid simcha, but this type of feeling of a good joke will bring you to true simcha. That's why it's good to be in a mode of telling jokes, and even just stupid jokes, because the chances are for you to come from that to genuine simcha, where you need it, in the davening, in the mitzvot, is greater than the guy who's just working on Tisha B'Av, and I have to do vidui, and I have to cry, okay? Elul, we understand. There's slichot, there's more davening, there's this, there's all these prayers, but the time that you're not doing that, it's more investment in being b'simcha. Rav Noson's daughter, Rav Michal said this once. Rav Michal said that Rav Noson's daughter said, as great as Elul is, don't forget that Elul brings its own obstacles also. And anyone who goes through Elul can say that there's crazy ups and downs in the month of Elul. I thought, Tisha B'Av was crazy. I thought the 3 weeks was crazy. I thought summer vacation was crazy. And then amid Elul, I thought maybe I'd have a break. And then Elul is like a roller coaster. They say, Oy li vaili is Rashi Tevot Elul. Oy li vaili, right? That's really extreme. That's not nice. But the truth is that Elul has so many ups and downs. What are the ups? Is that you got to really invest in being b'simcha. And the downs is you have a lot of brokenheartedness from the setbacks that you're going through in the month of Elul. But the key, like we said, Rabbeinu says in lesson 6, you have to be a baki, b'ratzon, baki b'shov. Baki b'ratzon means basically to be b'simcha. Again, the attitude of being happy. Mordechai, again, you have a thank you Hashem, thank you for this, thank you for that. And baki b'shov is taking the down, using it properly. It's not just, okay, it's not so bad, but expressing the Ratzonot. Hashem, I don't agree with this. Hashem, I just want to be close to you. All I wanted to be was close to you. That's how you activate the Orot HaTzachtzachot, okay? I think we're okay for now. We should be Zoche B'zat Hashem to come to Rabbeinu with the right mindset and to be b'simcha and use the simcha for the whole year and to know, like Rav Nosson explains the verse, Ki b'simcha tetzeu. With joy, you get out. Get out of what? Out of anything. Whenever you're stuck in life, the key to get out is simcha. Don't think the negative attitude will get you anywhere. It won't. It's the simcha attitude. And working for it, even when you're thrown down and everything, knowing that it's not going to work like this. If I stay down and miserable and cry and that, I'm not going to get anywhere. I got to do something. I got to make a change. I got to do something for things to move. What can I do? I have to find a way how to be b'simcha right now. I got to flip the world. Call a friend, speak to someone, tell me a good joke, put some good music on. I don't know if you like listen to Pumbedita. I don't know what you guys listen to. Put on some good music and dance and clap. But get into simcha mode. And that is what draws positive energy to you for making an opening. And if you can't, that's why you need a tzaddik. That's why you go to Rosh Hashanah, be by a tzaddik. And you can always throw yourself on. The breslov would say it's called Yom HaZikaron. Why is it called Yom HaZikaron? Because whenever you fall during the year, you're expected to remember the Zikaron. Do you remember I was by the tzaddik on Rosh Hashanah? Okay? No matter what I'm going through, no matter all the garbage I'm going through in Tisha B'Av and all the misery, but I was by the tzaddik Rosh Hashanah. Okay? Don't tell me that I'm finished and I'm chopped liver. And I was by the tzaddik Rosh Hashanah. Okay? Don't give me this garbage. I was by the tzaddik. I was by Rabbeinu Rosh Hashanah. Don't tell. But so what? Another 70,000 people. What difference does it make? No, I made it. You didn't make it. You, Mr. Tisha B'av, you guys didn't make it. I made it, man. I made it. I have what to be happy about. Ribbona Shalom. I got invited. Like they say, Rabbeinu invites you. Like the Israelis say, Rabbeinu mazmin otcha, Rabbeinu mazmin otcha. You hear that a lot, right? Rabbeinu has to invite you. Rabbeinu. So I was invited. Okay, I made it. I made it, Baruch Hashem. So I have every reason to be happy. No matter how bad the year is, and no matter how the Yitzhak tries to make you feel like Tisha B'Av, you remember I was zocher to be by the tzaddik. That's Yom HaZikaron. Okay? Shkoyach.